Freeman here on American Freedom Radio. This is where we break the bounds of all that we know. It's where we test the limits of the news that we get each day. Right now in the news, for me, the lead story is the Gabriel Giffords story. Very curious. Insanely curious. When we start to look at this picture and wonder why this man, Jared Lee Loughner, shot this congresswoman and the Judge Roll, along with 6 others and wounding 17 others, including a 9-year-old girl born on 9/11/2001. Was it a ritual? Not so sure. But there are some curious things to go along with this whole story. One being that Gabriel Giffords' YouTube page seems to have been subscribed to Jared Lee Loughner's YouTube page days before the shooting. How mysterious. As we start to look into the potentials and the many people who are putting out the reports saying why they think Jared Lee Loughner may have done this thing, it gets stranger and stranger. Some have said he's anti-Semitic, yet he's Jewish himself. Some have said that he was doing this because he was angered by Gabriel Giffords ignoring him at the Congress on the Corner talk. Everybody's been blamed in this, from David Icke to Ayn Rand. And when we start to look at this picture, we find that Gabriel Giffords and Judge Roll were involved in confiscating illegal drug money. They were both wrapped up in legislation dealing with drug money. And so the question becomes, was that a satanic altar that they found in the back of Jared Lee Loughner's house? Or perhaps it was a resident altar to the Holy Death cult known as Santa Muerte. Now, it's a possibility that Jared Lee Loughner could be somewhat vaguely connected with this Santa Muerte cult, the Holy Death. And in this, being used as a tool for the agency to stop Gabriel Giffords and Judge Roll from passing legislation on the confiscation of drug monies. Curious indeed. But it goes further than this. As some have suspected, this might be aimed at her husband, Mark Kelly, NASA astronaut, ready to fly the last space shuttle mission up to the International Space Station, carrying with him the alpha magnetic spectrometer from CERN, looking into the anti-universe. Also going along with him is Robonaut 2. Soon, it will have a robotic lord sitting up in our International Space Station, controlling everything. And also, new shielding for the International Space Station will be going up as well, which has led some to believe that they wanted to silence Mark Kelly for the incoming Planet X knowledge, trying to stop him from telling us what's actually going on in the International Space Station with the space shuttle missions. Was this a geared attack to frighten the astronaut? Curiously, Mark Kelly is the only identical twin that NASA has ever launched up into space. Up at the International Space Station, we find his brother, Scott Kelly, there waiting for his arrival. And we find that the same lawyer is being used for Jared Lee Loughner as was used for the Unabomber, or even Tim McVeigh, Judy Clark. The story has many paths and many ways that it could go, and many things that it could lead to. As I noted, that it was Mark Kelly who launched Lisa Nowak up into space for STS-121. This is the fateful mission where she returned to grab another astronaut in diapers. We'll be right back with Dr. John Coleman discussing Tavistock, Committee of 300, and much, much. Mind control should be a word or words on every person's lips. If you're not frightened by your friends watching what's going on in Hollywood, being programmed through Disney, other media outlets, then you're not paying attention. So I will be involved in a conference here very soon in April 10th and 11th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on mind control. It's called Free Your Mind, and you can find all the details at freemantv.com. We're going to talk a lot about mind control tonight with Dr. John Coleman. We're going to talk about culture creation and the use of pop icons to control and contort society. We're going to get deep into politics and into situations of secret rulers that are unknown to most of the public. John has outlined these in many of his books. I'm excited to talk with Dr. John Coleman about many of the things that I have seen in the world, many of the things that are coming to light now, because you and I, we have become Mystery Inc. It has now become our job, our purpose, and our goal in life to understand the methods and the agenda of those that control and create culture in our society. Never before have people ever been this close to understanding many of the secrets that have been hidden throughout the millennia. And so now you and I, we have gathered together and we're gathering all the data we possibly can to understand why these things are going on. And even more important, to understand our path out of this. To learn that we, you and I, actually hold all the cards in our hands, and that the control is in our hands. And that everything that is being used against us, all the amounts of mind control and the predictive programming that they constantly have to use to instill certain belief systems into us, shows us our true power and our true nature. We can break free from all of this. And the more understanding we gain, the better off we are. So let's not throw away any information as it comes. Let's learn and grow as we take in all this infotainment. We're waiting right now for Dr. John to come up to the show and get this on the road. 2 hours of mind-bending information. I like to take this show where other researchers dare to travel. I like to go out of bounds and test my guests' knowledge in areas that receive very little attention. I enjoy talking about the space war and where we're going with this. The technological advancements that are coming through CERN, through the relativistic heavy ionic collider, through the secret tests going up on the International Space Station. Not to mention the use of opportunities and helicopters. We've been looking at this picture for quite a long time. We've been led up through things like the Oklahoma City bombing in Waco. We've been taken to 9/11. We've learned many things about our government that perhaps we wish we never knew. And yet we carry on, you and I, with a smile on our faces and continue to carry our torch to try and enlighten the rest of humanity. This is our job. If you're listening to me now, I know you're ahead of the scheme. So we can't go looking for singular answers. Collective work that we have to come to. A collective study as we all gather the data to look at it in many different angles and understand what's going on. We see now that people are easily programmed, dressing up as V, or Guy Fawkes, from V for Vendetta, to protest the Constitution. The irony of this, the idea that here is the original fall guy, set up most likely by Venetian intelligence, to blow up Parliament and King, and then taken out, actually committing suicide before being hanged. And yet, thanks to Alan Moore and Hollywood Productions' Village Roadshow, now people dress up as this as their hero. We've been moved into the age of the dark hero, where we're conditioned to fight. We're conditioned to be violent. We're shown our heroes with blades and guns. Constantly this comes to us in so many different angles, from video games, movies, television shows, comic books, and all of it controlled, all of it contrived. And Dr. John Coleman's going to give us much insight on the people who are doing this and the many whys. Now we sit in a place where we have a president that many don't believe is actually president. We have struggle and strife within our military as Obama, the new pharaoh, leads them astray. Many don't believe that he's actually constitutionally eligible to be the president. So what does this cause as our military men have no leadership? But as John will show us, he's not commander-in-chief in the first place. So we're left headless and wondering, and all of us out here, disillusioned and isolated. What is going to be that catalyst force, the thing that will draw us all together, that will bring us to the place of harmony, where we see that we can have faith in mankind and no longer need these controlling forces? You could follow the zeitgeist belief and believe that what is necessary is a controlling computer, a super network that will be like Skynet off a Terminator, controlling every action of humanity. As they say, we can't be trusted. And yet as I wander, all I see are wonderful people. As I walk through the grocery store aisles or the stores anywhere, as I walk down the streets, I'm not in fear of my life. No. I see smiling, wonderful people constantly. Who are these evil oligarchy that wish to control the rest of society, and why are we willing to be the participants of this game? We can find our way out of this, folks, and first it's going to take all the information, but once we have that information, we have to put it to action. Now, this does not mean that we have to go seek out legislation, stand up for protests, run in front of riot squads carrying CS gas and pepper sprayed bullets. No, that is not necessary. Actually, if anything, that helps them. Violent protests. No, we need to change our very way of understanding existence with our other humans. We need to change the very way that we understand society and how it has become the very civilization that it is. We see all the secret signs. It's all in the art and architecture. You should see it everywhere. The gods and goddesses are worshipped left and right. We can see the secret societies gathering behind these locked doors. Well, we don't get to see them, but we see their actions. We see what comes from it as each of our presidents goes to meet behind these locked doors, worshipping on altars under Egyptian auspices. We see the Egyptification, we could call it that, the Egyptianization of our world. We see the obelisks in all the main city-states. We see the art and architecture expressed